So we'll
think it was
start
234.
on page 234. It's actually the first paragraph. In the Baranagore monastery, the disciples studied the Vedanta scriptures as well as the Bible, the Imitation of Christ, and other scriptures. One day, they read this passage from the Bible. For there are some eunuchs which are born from their mother's womb, and there be eunuchs which have made themselves eunuchs for the kingdom of heaven's sake. I think we did read this, but that's okay. When someone jokingly called Yogananda a eunuch, he laughingly replied, "You will see, just you wait. Jesus left a group of eunuchs who shook the world. We will do the same thing." On another occasion, Yogananda mentioned the main teaching of Christ to his disciples: love one another. To realize that one sentence is equivalent to studying the whole Bible, said Yogananda. Yogananda did not care much for studying. He loved to be in solitude and would practice jopam and meditation for many hours. Sometimes he would leave the monastery and practice austerities on the bank of the Ganga. Due to his intense fasting, Yogananda's body was lean, but his eyes were bright and luminous. Once, some village women who were carrying water from the Ganga saw Yogananda seated under a banyan tree. They were impressed by his appearance, and their love and sympathy welled up for him. They began to inquire about his background, but in order to avoid them, Yogananda replied in Hindi as if he didn't know Bengali. The women thought he was either a Hindustani hemp smoker or a cheat and a liar, and left. As is customary for mendicants, he went to beg food one day and arrived at a thatched cottage in Alambazar. A poor woman was sweeping the house. Seeing the young monk begging food, she angrily said, "Get away from this place. You're a young man. Why don't you work and make money? You come in the disguise of a monk at daytime to check the houses and will return at night to steal." Saying this, she hit her broomstick on the ground. Yogananda suppressed his laughter, but when he returned to the monastery, he mimicked the woman out of fun. The brothers rolled on the floor with laughter. Yogananda had a good sense of humor, and at the same time, he was a serious monk with burning renunciation. It's good to follow the middle path regarding eating, sleeping, and working. Excessive mortification ruins physical health, and the aspirant cannot continue spiritual discipline. Yogananda, however, was an extremist. For the sake of God, he would have given up everything, even his body. Sometimes he would repeat his mantra day and night, almost non-stop, which caused severe headaches. He was then living at Balaram's house in Calcutta. He asked Girish Chandra Ghosh, who knew homeopathy, to give him some medicine. I didn't know Girish also knew homeopathy. I mean, besides being a poet and the first man of Calcutta theater. Girish prescribed a medicine and advised Yogan to take light tea and a night's rest. This cured his pain. Swami Chetanananda, who lived with Yogananda for some time, said, "Yogan Maharaj was so absorbed in meditation most of the time that his face would always look serene and luminous. Even when he would come from his bath, one would feel that he had just come out of his deep meditation." In November 1888, Yogananda went to Puri with Holy Mother and stayed there 3 months. Then in February 1889, he went to Kamarpukur with Holy Mother. She stayed there for a year. During that time, Yogananda left on pilgrimage and visited Deoghar, Gaya, Prayag, Chitrakoot, and Omkarnath. After returning to Prayag, Yogananda fell ill with chickenpox. When this news reached Baranagore Monastery, Vivekananda and some other disciples rushed to Prayag to take care of Yogananda until he recovered. Around this period, a crucial incident took place in Yogananda's life, which was later narrated by Shivananda. Swami Yogananda was a highly evolved soul. He was extremely handsome and had a manly body. Once he was traveling in Central Province and he was alone in a train car. At a particular station when the train was about to leave, a beautiful courtesan hurriedly got in the same car with her luggage. As soon as her eyes fell on Yogananda, she was infatuated and begged him, "I offer my everything to you. Please accept me." When Yogananda did not respond, she became impatient and threatened him. "If you don't listen to me right now, I shall pull the alarm chain to stop the train, and I shall complain to the guard that you had molested me." She was carrying a bottle of wine in her bag. She began to drink the wine to become more excited, but it had the opposite effect. She became so drunk that she passed out on her seat. When the train reached the next station, Yogananda got off the train unharmed. Look, what grace of the Master. Who else can protect except he? In 1891, Yogananda went to Varanasi, where he lived in a small cottage in a solitary garden. He spent most of his time in meditation. Once a day, he would go out to beg for food. Sometimes he would eat dry bread soaked in water for 2 or 3 days. What austerity! He ruined his digestive system forever. One night, while he was repeating the name of Sri Ramakrishna, an evil spirit tried to harm him. Immediately he shouted out, "Jai Ramakrishna," victory to Ramakrishna. Frightened, the spirit said to him, "I shall never again come to disturb you. Henceforth, this place is yours." Perhaps it was a haunted place, but by the grace of the Master, his life was saved. In 1892, Yogananda returned to the monastery, which had been moved to Ulaanbaatar, and lived there for some months. Then he devoted himself to serving Holy Mother and became her attendant and caretaker until his death. Yogananda was among the 3 or 4 monastic disciples of the Master who had free access to the Holy Mother. He treasured the following scene of Holy Mother, his mantra guru, which occurred while he was serving the Master at Dakshineshwar. It was 3 o'clock in the morning. Holy Mother was immersed in meditation on the veranda of the Nahabat. A gentle breeze blew away her veil, and the light of the full moon fell on her face. Sri Ramakrishna went to the pine grove, and the young yogin carried the Master's water pot. Both saw her in that condition, but she was unaware of it. Because Yogananda was pure like the ever-free Shukadev, the Master engaged him to do errands for Holy Mother. "Yogin and Sharat belong to my inner circle," said Holy Mother. "None loved me as Yogin. If anybody would give him any money, he would save it, saying, 'Mother will use it for her pilgrimage.' The other monks would tease him for staying in this household full of women. He would ask me to address him as Yoga." Yogananda was so respectful towards Holy Mother that he would not salute her by touching her feet. When the mother would leave the place, he would touch that spot with his head. Asked about this strange behavior, Yogananda replied, "What? I don't have the audacity to keep the mother standing and waiting for me so that I can bow down to her." Now, the last years of Yogananda. Any questions about anything we've read yet? Okay. From 1895 to 1897, Yogananda arranged the birth anniversary festival of Sri Ramakrishna on a large scale at Dakshineshwar. In 1898, he organized a similar celebration at Don's temple complex of Belur. At that time, the name of Sri Ramakrishna was not widely known, but Yogananda had a magnetic personality. He attracted many young volunteers from Ahiritola, Calcutta, and celebrated the Ramakrishna festival with éclat. This is how they celebrate most festivals in India, with deux éclats. In 1897, when Swami Vivekananda returned from the West, Yogananda took an active part in organizing the reception for Swamiji that created a sensation all over Calcutta. On the 1st of May in 1897, Vivekananda inaugurated the Ramakrishna mission at Balaram's house in Calcutta. He made Brahmananda president and Yogananda vice president of the Ramakrishna order. When the meeting was over, Swamiji said to Yogananda, "So the work has begun in this way. Let us see how it succeeds by the will of Sri Ramakrishna." Yogananda, you are doing these things by Western methods. Would you say that Sri Ramakrishna left us any such instructions? Swamiji, how do you know that these methods are not in keeping with his ideas? Sri Ramakrishna was the embodiment of infinite ideas. Do you want to confine him within your own limits? I shall break those limits and scatter his ideas broadcast all over the world. He never instructed me to worship him, and so forth. The methods of spiritual practice, concentration and meditation, and the other higher ideals of religion that he taught, those we must realize and teach to all human beings. Infinite are the ideas, and infinite are the paths that lead to the goal. I was not born to create a new sect in this world, too full of sects already. Blessed are we that have found refuge at the feet of our Master. It is our duty to give the ideas entrusted to us freely to the whole world. Yogananda did not dissent, and so Swamiji continued. Time and again I have received marks of his grace. He himself is at my back and is making me do all these things. Yogananda, whatever you will shall come about. We are always ready to follow your lead. I see clearly that the Master is working through you. Still, I confess, doubts do sometimes arise in my mind, for as we saw it, his method of doing things was so different. I am led to ask myself whether we are not straying. I am led to ask myself whether we are not straying from Sri Ramakrishna's teachings. Swamiji, the thing is this. Sri Ramakrishna is far greater than his disciples understand him to be. He is the embodiment of infinite spiritual ideas, capable of development in infinite ways. Even if one can find a limit to the knowledge of Brahman, one cannot measure the unfathomable depths of our Master's mind. One gracious glance of his eyes can create 100,000 Vivekanandas at this instant. But if this time he chooses, instead to work through me, making me his instrument, I can only bow to his will. Yogananda was deeply moved and praised Swamiji's greatness. In time, Yogananda's head, but did you know how even Yogananda, the disciple, questioned Swamiji in a very respectful manner, but he questioned, are we doing the right thing? They were starting something very new. In time, Yogananda's health began to fail. Swamiji took him to Darjeeling and Almora, health resorts in the Himalayan region, and arranged all kinds of treatment for him. In spite of all that, Yogananda's body rapidly deteriorated. It became difficult for him to serve Holy Mother, so he made Brahmachari Krishnalal, later Swami Dhirananda, his assistant. Swamiji noticed that many women devotees would visit Holy Mother. It was not proper for a young brahmacharan to be around women, although Swamiji had no objection to his serving Holy Mother. Observing the situation, Swamiji asked Yogananda, as you know, various kinds of women come to Holy Mother. Who will be responsible if this brahmacharin's mind wanders from the spiritual path? Touching his chest, Yogananda immediately replied, I will be responsible. I am ready to sacrifice my life for him. It's needless to say about the unseen power that uttered these words through Yogananda's lips as I. Yogananda commanded love and respect for his sterling saintly qualities, but what distinguished him among the disciples of Sri Ramakrishna was his devoted service to Holy Mother. He was one of the first monks to discover the extraordinary spiritual greatness of Mother, hidden under her rural simplicity. Once Sardananda said to Yogananda, Brother, I do not always understand Swamiji. He speaks in various moods. Whatever stand he takes, he makes so much of it that the others pale into insignificance. Yogananda said, Sharat, I tell you one thing, cling to Holy Mother. Whatever she says, that is right. Yogananda then took Sardananda to Holy Mother, and gradually the latter became an attendant of the Mother, remaining so for 21 years after Yogananda's passing away. Yogananda led an ideal life and taught by his example. He did not lecture or do any spectacular work. Although married and born into a rich family, he demonstrated how to practice renunciation and purity. He was an uncompromising monk. He shunned everything that took his mind away from the Master. During the last of his life, he would visit Girish and talk about the Master. He presided several times over the weekly meetings of the Ramakrishna Mission. Vivekananda valued his judgment and foresight, so in 1898, he took Yogananda by boat to the new site purchased for Belur Monastery on the bank of the Ganga. Although Yogananda was quite ill, he was very pleased to see the beautiful land that Swamiji had purchased for the permanent home of the Ramakrishna order. While Yogananda was bedridden, Swami Adbhutananda came to see him at Holy Mother's house in Bashpura Lane, Calcutta. Yogananda said to him, "This illness will never be cured. The doctors advised me to take pomegranate juice, luchi, and catfish soup. They have no sense. How can a monk procure such expensive food like that, meant for rich aristocrats? They have money and people to prepare such delicacies, but we're monks. We have none except God. We live on alms, so that kind of luxury does not befit us. What do you think?" Adbhutananda replied, "What do you mean, brother? When one is sick, he needs a special diet, so I don't find any objection to your taking that kind of food." Yogananda, "I know that, but who will supply it?" Adbhutananda, "We will arrange everything for you." Yogananda, "I know that. You see, Holy Mother wants my wife to come and prepare all these things for me. What is your opinion? I am a monk. Shall I have to accept service from my wife? I can't agree to this personal proposal. My mind is reluctant to yield to it." Adbhutananda, "When Mother approves it, there should not be any problem." Yogananda, "Brother, you don't understand. Do you know what people will say? They will say, a disciple of Ramakrishna, although a monk, takes the personal service of his wife. It is not right to give an opportunity for such talk." Adbhutananda, "Forget it. People say so many things. Who cares? If one is true to his religious ideal, no public opinion can do anything. Moreover, who will believe their howling? Brother, please follow what Mother says." Yogananda, "Whomever asks about this matter, everyone speaks like you. Nobody understands my feeling. What more shall I say? As much as this person strives to serve me, I know this disease will not be cured." Adbhutananda, Brother, don't say that. Everything happens by the will of the Master. If he wants to take you back, none of us can hold you. Again, if he wants to keep you alive for his work, you have no power to stop it. Why are you worried about all these things? Yogananda, brother, you're right. Let the Master's will be done. I am nobody. Yogananda knew that he wouldn't live long, and at last he obeyed the Master's will. His wife served him during the last few days of his life, the Mother's will. When Holy Mother requested Yogananda to give some spiritual instruction to his wife, he said, Mother, I can't do that. You please take care of her and instruct her. During his last illness, Yogananda suffered from fever and blood dysentery. His whole body was emaciated and his voice was feeble. One day he said about the advent of the Master, there have always been various religious paths, countless scriptures and holy places in country. In spite of that, why is there a decline in religion? Because in the course of time, all ideals become lost. Therefore, God incarnates himself to explain the hidden mystery of religion and to show the ideal. On another occasion, he said, by the grace of the Master, I have attained so much knowledge and devotion that I am unable to express it all. When Yogananda's parents came to see him, he said, I pray, may you attain devotion. As Yogananda lay ill, Vivekananda said, Jogan, you get well. Let me die instead. Jogan, you are a crushed jewel, said Niranjanananda. When Girish's sister said to Yogananda, Jogan, why don't you ask Holy Mother to tell the Master to give you back your health? Yogananda replied, Sister, you don't know their ways. They do what is right. My request will not change their will. Yogananda never prayed to Sri Ramakrishna to cure his illness. He was an illumined soul. He experienced that the Atman alone is real, and this body is made of 5 elements that disintegrate after death. An embodied being cannot escape pain and misery, so he silently endured his prarabdha karma, the result of deeds that were begun in former lives and are now working themselves out in the present one. There is a difference between an ordinary soul and an ever-free soul. The former attains liberation through self-knowledge, but the ever-free soul is the eternal companion of an avatar or divine incarnation. 6 months before Yogananda's death, Sri Ramakrishna appeared before him. Yogananda said, Master, I don't want to be born again. The lesson of this life is enough for me. Please give me final liberation. The Master replied, You will have to come once more. No, I won't come, Yogananda demanded. Please release me forever. Immediately, Sri Ramakrishna disappeared. Yogananda went through 6 months of physical suffering, hoping that the Master would grant his request. Knowing Yogananda's resolution, Girish at last said to him, Brother, don't you know that you have been suffering terribly these last 6 months? Your pain is causing pain to all of us. Please agree to the will of the Master. Don't refuse to come back with the Master. Look here, Jogan. Don't seek nirvana. Don't think of the Master as pervading the entire universe, the sun, the moon forming his eyes. Think of the Master as he used to be to us, and thus thinking of him, go to him. At last Yogananda said, What? I have been suffering in bed for the last 6 months? All right, let the Master's will be done. I am his servant. Whatever he asks me to do, I will do. Saying so, Yogananda fully resigned himself to the Master. Swami Yogananda passed away in Samadhi at 3:10 p.m. on the 28th of March, 1899. Before his passing away, he said to Holy Mother, Mother, Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, and Sri Ramakrishna have come to take me. In the morning, while performing worship, Holy Mother saw that the Master had come to take Yogananda. When Yogananda breathed his last, Brahmachari Krishnalal cried out. Holy Mother was upstairs and she realized what had happened. She also burst into tears and said, "My Yogan has left me. Who will look after me now?" Because Yogananda was the first disciple of the Master to die, Mother remarked with a deep sigh, "A brick has slipped from the structure. Now the whole thing will come down." Before the body of Yogananda was taken to Kashi Mitra's cremation ground in North Calcutta, I almost said North Carolina, Swamiji waved the light and offered flowers and sweets as a part of the ritual. Swamiji was so stunned that he did not go to the cremation ground. Brahmananda and the other disciples and devotees went in procession and cremated their beloved brother disciple's body on the banks of the Ganga. Grief-stricken, Swamiji did not go to Sri Ramakrishna's shrine for 3 days. He remarked, "A beam is down, and now the rafters will fall one after another." Just before Yogananda's death, Shivananda had asked him, "Jogan, do you remember the Master?" Yogananda replied, "Yes, I remember the Master more, even more, much more." And that is the end of his life in the order. Any questions about Yogananda? The first one to go, and Holy Mother's first disciple, the first one to recognize her greatness.
So I guess he was rather young.
I'm sorry?
So I guess he was rather young when he died. I didn't do the math.
I don't know how old he was. Not that old. I think he was fairly young.
Yeah.
But we're going to read about Advaitananda next. Now, Advaitananda was Ramakrishna's oldest direct disciple, proving that it's never too late. Ever. Okay. As you all know, Saturday at 11 o'clock is Durga Puja. Now, we will be having the puja here in the temple, and flower offering and prasad will follow down. Flower offering in the temple, prasad lunch down in the convent driveway. We are not having a gospel reading because it's Durga Puja. Swami Sarvadevananda will give the talk the day after Durga Puja, the 28th, on how to worship Divine Mother. But now most of you, if you're doing the Jai Sri Durgas or your extra japam, you know that if you're doing 1,000 a day for 10 days, and 10 of us are doing it, is the same as doing an entire Durga Puja. So in Santa Barbara, I think we have 20-some people signed up. So we will have done 1 Durga Puja in the temple and 2 Durga Pujas in the with the japam. On Tuesday, the 30th, this is the other most important day, at 5:42 p.m. to 6:30 p.m., we do Sunday Puja, which is group chanting of Jai Sri Durga in the temple. Very precise number of minutes. I can never get it. I think it's 28, but I'm not sure. It might be 48. I never can count them. So this is when Durga kills Mahishasura the demon. And by chanting aloud Jai Sri Durga, we are encouraging her to victory, which we desperately want, so that all of our shortcomings and bad tendencies are destroyed. Okay, any other questions about things that are happening this weekend? Okay. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat, Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.